Hi, my name is Annie, and welcome to the Walking Word, where we go through the Holy Bible in a year as part of discipling. We have been reading the Pentateuch, the first five books of the Bible, and now in Deuteronomy, the last book. So, the first five books of the Bible were written by Moses: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And in Deuteronomy chapter 11, it started with a whole exhortation by Moses, just recounting their journey so far, because the Israelites are now about to cross the Jordan and enter the promised land. So, in chapter 11, we are going to see Moses continue expounding on the wonders of the Lord and what he's done for the Israelites so far. And Deuteronomy is an interesting book because it sort of covers all the aspects of the Holy Bible. It is a historical book. It is a further exposition of the laws, because Moses is now really expounding before he sets them. He lets go of leadership and all that. It is also a reminder of God's covenant with Israelites, and Moses is bidding farewell. I mean, he's the one who's introduced us to scripture from the story of creation till, entering the promised land, about to just enter the promised land. So it is a very interesting book. Take your time reading it. We're in chapter 11, the wonders, Moses continues to explain the wonders of the Lord. Verse 1. Love the Lord your God, therefore, and always heed his charge, his statutes, decrees, and commandments. It is not your children who have not known it from experience, but you yourselves who must now understand the discipline of the Lord your God, his majesty, his strong hand, and his outstretched arm, the signs and the deeds he wrought among the Egyptians on Pharaoh, king of Egypt, on all his land, what he did to the Egyptian army and to their horses and to their chariots, engulfing them in the water of the Red Sea, as they pursued you, and bringing ruin upon them even to this day. What he did for you in the desert until you arrived in this place, and what he did to the Reubenites, Dathan and Abiram. You remember Abiram and Eliab, who were contesting against Moses, and his leadership as power given by God. So it's literally they were being defiant to God. And what happened to them, including Kohath. You remember Kohath was also swallowed together with Abiram and Eliab. They were all swallowed by the ground. When the ground opened its mouth and swallowed them out of the midst of Israel, with their families and their tents and every living thing that belonged to them. With your own eyes you have seen all these great deeds that the Lord has done. Keep all the commandments then, which I enjoin on you today, that you may be strong enough to enter it and take possession of the land in which you are crossing, and that you may have a long life on the land in which the Lord swore to your fathers he would give them and their descendants a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land which you are to enter and occupy is not like the land of Egypt, from which you have come, where you would sow your seed and then water it by hand as a vegetable garden. No, the land into which you are crossing for conquest is a land of hills and valleys that drinks in rain from the heavens, a land which the Lord your God looks after. Oh, wow, how beautiful is that! His eyes are upon it continually from the beginning of the year to the end. If then you truly heed my commandments, which I enjoin to you today, loving and serving the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, which is the one main commandment of man, right? I will give the seasonal rain to your land, the early rain, the late rain, and that you may have your grain, wine, and oil to gather in. And I will bring forth grass in the fields for your animals, thus you may eat your fill. But be careful lest your heart be so lured away that you serve other gods and worship them. For then the wrath of the Lord will flare up against you, and he will close up the heavens, so that the rain will fall, and the soil will not yield its crops, and you will soon perish from the good land he is giving you. Okay? Then the rewards for fidelity. Verse 18, therefore take these words of mine into your heart and soul, bind them at your wrist as a sign, and let them be a pendant on your forehead. God reiterating. The, teach them to your children, speaking of them at home and abroad, whether you are busy or you are at rest. Continuously immerse yourself in my commandments, teach it, pass it on. And write them on the doorposts of your houses and on your gates, so that as long as the heavens are on earth, and you and your children may live on the land which the Lord swore to your fathers he would give them. Mhm. Verse 22, for if you are careful to observe all these commandments I enjoin on you, loving your Lord your God, following his. Verse 18, therefore take these words of mine into your heart. No, sorry, verse 20, 22. For if you are careful to observe all these commandments I enjoin on you, loving the Lord your God and following his ways exactly and holding fast to him, the Lord will drive all these nations out of your way and will possess nations greater and mightier than yourselves. Every place where you set your foot shall be yours, from the desert of Lebanon to the Euphrates River to the western sea shall be your territory. None shall stand up against you. The Lord your God will spread the fear and dread of you through anywhere, any land where you set foot, as he has promised. The blessing and curse. I set before you here this day a blessing and a curse, a blessing for obeying the commandments of the Lord your God, which I enjoin on you today, a curse if you do not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside from the way I ordain to you today, from other gods whom you have not known. When the Lord your God brings you into the land which you are to enter and occupy, then you shall pronounce the blessing on Mount Gerizim, the curse on Mount Ebal. Are they not beyond the Jordan on the other side of the western road in the country of the Canaanites who live in the Arabah, opposite the Gilgal beside the terebinth of Moreh? For you are about to cross the Jordan to enter and occupy the land, which the Lord your God is giving you. When therefore you take possession of it and settle there, be careful to observe all the statutes and decrees that I set before you today. If you can remember the terebinth of Moreh, which we saw Abraham visit. You remember? Yeah. Now we move further into chapter 12, where we'll now be seeing an exposition of the law, where the law is just being expounded further, right? Okay. Be blessed.